Good morning, class 11 students. Today we continue with the revision of the first chapter of the language of chemistry. As we saw in the last video, we revised about characteristics of compounds, we revised about the compound names given, and we studied about writing a formula of chemical compounds. We saw and revised examples of writing chemical formulas like that of sodium chloride, calcium sulfide, chromium sulfate, and calcium hydrogen sulfide, etc. We studied and revised the compounds of acids, bases, hydrocarbons, alcohols, and some salts. And we also observed their table to see so many important compounds that are used in chemical reactions. Also, how to write their formulae. We received the rules and revised the rules in naming certain chemical compounds like those compounds having a metal and non-metal like potassium iodide. Then we revised the compounds made of two non-metals and how to name them. Today in video 3 from page 6 we see the naming of compounds having two elements and oxygen. Now in this rule we see that two elements are there and these are written side by side. Oxygen is written after these two elements. Let us see in this example. Oxygen is named with the suffix "ate". Suffix is what is added at the end of a compound. One or more oxygen is present, and so we use for adding oxygen after two elements with the suffix "ate", ate. So we also see that we name a compound having two elements and then it is followed by oxygen, and in this we use the suffix "ite", which shows the one with less oxygen is used with the suffix "ite". For example, in potassium chlorate, you see the suffix here chlorate. Here we see that we have got oxygen 3. It is KClO3. Likewise, in oxygen, when it is less than 3, then we use potassium chlorite, which shows that oxygen is one less than the above, like potassium chlorite, potassium chloride. That means one oxygen is less than chlorate. Then in other elements also given prefix hypo or per depending on the oxygen content. For example, in KClO3 we see that the oxygen content is less. So when the content is less, then we will write potassium hypochlorite, means less oxygen. But when the content of oxygen is more, like in KClO4, we will write potassium perchlorate. Per is used when the amount of oxygen is more. Then we see in table on page 7, which is important for formulas. We see on page 7 that the table is given here, and in this table we see very important formulas of compounds like those of potassium, potassium chloride, potassium bromide, potassium bicarbonate, potassium bisulfite, and potassium bisulfate. And also we see sodium compounds like sodium chloride, like sodium bisulfate, sodium aluminate, and sodium nitrite, sodium nitrate, NaNO2, NaNO3. Then we see the compounds of calcium like calcium chloride, calcium nitrate, calcium bisulfite. Then of magnesium like magnesium chloride, magnesium hydroxide. We see compounds of zinc like zinc chloride, zinc nitrate, and we see so many different compounds here with their formulas. So it is very important, children, that you revise this table on page 7 and 8. Likewise we have cuprous compounds like copper chloride or cuprous chloride. Then we have cupric compounds like cupric chloride or cupric nitrate. Then we have got ferrous compounds like ferrous chloride, ferrous nitrate, ferrous hydroxide. Then we have ferric compounds like ferric hydroxide, ferric nitrate, ferric sulfide, ferric oxide. Then with lead we have compounds like lead chloride, lead hydroxide, lead nitrate, etc. With aluminium we have compounds like aluminium chloride, aluminium oxide, aluminium sulfate. Then with manganese we have compounds like manganese chloride and compounds like manganese sulfate. Then with chromium we have compounds like chromium chloride, chromium oxide. With silver we have compounds like silver chloride and diamine silver chloride. Likewise with ammonia we have compounds like ammonium chloride, ammonium hydroxide, ammonium sulfate. So children, this table is very important and it is better to revise this table. Children, go through it so that you know so many compounds that are used in chemical reactions. Now as we use the word chemical reactions, let us see that what chemical reactions is. To define chemical equation, a chemical equation is a shorthand form for a chemical change, and it shows the result of a chemical change in which the reactants and the products are represented by symbols. Then we see a chemical reaction here, NH4OH, ammonium hydroxide, and HCl, hydrochloric acid, which indicates or it yields ammonium chloride and water. So on the left hand side we see the reactants, ammonium hydroxide and HCl, and on the right hand side we see the products, ammonium chloride and water. And this arrow indicates that these reactants yield these products, or this arrow also shows the direction in which the reaction is running from left to right. Then children, let us see some examples of chemical reactions. Now in this example of lead nitrate, where heat is utilized, on heating lead nitrate it dissociates into lead oxide, oxygen and nitrogen dioxide. So we see one reactant and 2 or 3 products formed in this reaction. Likewise in ammonia gas plus water, the product is ammonium hydroxide. So we see 2 reactants here, ammonia and water, and 1 product, ammonium hydroxide. Then children, we see another reaction showing magnesium reacting with 2 hydrochloric acid, dilute hydrochloric acid, giving magnesium chloride and hydrogen as gas. So there are 2 reactants here and 2 products. Likewise we see another reaction of potassium dichromate reacting with hydrochloric acid, which is concentrated, and we get the products potassium chloride and chromium trichloride, water and chlorine. and we see here 2 reactants and 3 or 4 products that are formed. So we have seen different kind of reactions here. Then we see that information of a chemical equation. What does a chemical equation represent, or what information does it give? We said that, see that the chemical equation tells us about the chemical nature of reactants and products, children. Then we see chemical equation also tells us the nature of reactants and radicals involved. Then we see that the direction of the reaction is shown with either forward facing arrow, which is an irreversible reaction, or with a forward and backward facing arrow, which shows that the reaction is reversible. That means when the reactants form products, those products again combine to form the reactants. Then we see information shown by chemical equation. It tells about the state of matter in which substance is present. Example, whether it is present as solid or liquid or gas, we represent by writing in brackets small s, small l or small g for gas. Then children, let us see another important thing. Children, what are the limitations of a chemical equation? What are the limitations of chemical equation? The chemical equation does not tell us about the concentration of both reactants and products. Then we see another drawback of chemical reaction is that it tells us not about the speed of the reaction or the reactants involved in the liquids, whether they are liquids or they are gases or they are solids. Then we see the limitation is it does not tell about the changes in color occurring during the reaction. Then another limitation of writing chemical reaction is it does not tell about the completion of the reaction, that is whether the reaction is completed or not. Then another drawback is the chemical reaction does not tell about the changes in evolution of light or sound energy during the occurrence of the reaction, whether it's an exothermic or it's an endothermic reaction. But we see that every chemical equation should be balanced. Balancing of the chemical equation. What is, children, balancing a chemical equation? A balanced equation is one, children, in which the number of atoms of each element is the same on the left hand side of the reactants and on the right hand side of the reactants. We will see how to balance a chemical equation by looking at examples after a little while. Then we see why should an equation be balanced. There are 3 reasons of why an equation is to be balanced. The first reason is all equations must be balanced in order to abide by or comply with the law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of matter, which explains that number 2 point, matter is neither created nor destroyed in the course of a chemical reaction, but it changes from one form into another. Then another thing about conservation, law of conservation of matter is an unbalanced equation would show or imply that atoms have been created or destroyed. So that's why we must balance a chemical equation. How is an equation balanced, children? The methods we follow. Hit and trial method is one method that we follow, that we will follow even in class 9. Another method is partial equation method. We will see these methods one by one. But first we will concentrate on hit and trial method. Let us see some examples of balancing by hit and trial method, children. If you look carefully, children, here uh, the example here is given how we can balance an equation by hit and trial method, children. Now in this equation, the example is one of aluminium reacting with sulfuric acid to give the products aluminium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Now here, children, we see aluminium is not balanced. Here is one, here two aluminium are there. Then we see here hydrogen is balanced on the left hand side, on the right hand side, but we see sulfate is not balanced. We see here there is only one sulfate molecule, but here three sulfate molecules are there. So let us balance one by one. Now sulfate is the biggest molecule here, which is not balanced. Let us start balancing it by putting coefficient 3 before H2SO4 or sulfuric acid. So this side there was nothing on the left hand side, so we put coefficient 3 before H2SO4 on the left hand side. Now we see that sulfate is 3. So it is 3 molecules of sulfate. Sulfate is equal to 3 on left hand side, and here also, children, we see it's balanced. Sulfate is 3 this side also. So sulfate on left hand side 3, sulfate on right hand side 3. But because we added 3 before H2SO4, now hydrogen became imbalanced. It is 3 to the 6 hydrogen here and only 2 hydrogen on the right hand side. Now we will balance hydrogen on the right hand side by putting 3 before H2. So we put 3 before H2 on the right hand side. Now we see hydrogen on the left hand side is 6 and hydrogen on the right hand side is also 3 to the 6. Now let us see step 3. Now we balance aluminium by putting 2 before aluminium, because there was only one aluminium on the left hand side and 2 on the right hand side. So we put 2 before aluminium on the left hand side. Now we have 2 aluminium on left hand side and 2 aluminium on the right hand side. So we see that aluminium is also balanced by putting 2 on the left hand side. Thus the balanced equation that we receive is now 2Al plus 3H2SO4, which gives aluminium sulfate plus 3 hydrogen gas. So we see here this is a balanced chemical equation, and now because we have balanced it, we have met the law of conservation of mass or matter. And in the next video we will learn to balance also by partial equation method. Okay, children. So wish you all the best. We conclude the video here. Thank you.